Hello and welcome to Star Steerby, a Star Trek podcast.
Oh, the engineer is introing this week.
I am your chief engineer today, Jake, and joining me are...
Chris.
And Captain Ames of the ISS Shenzhou.
Captain Killames, maybe? I don't know.
I couldn't think of a good one because my name doesn't do a lot.
But anyway, here we go. This week we're going to be talking about one episode, of Star Trek Discovery. And that episode is called Despite Yourself. And that is going to be a little bit of, let's see, what happens? Fuck, I can't remember any of it. Oh, yes, you'll recall from the end of last week's episode that our starship got sent to somewhere strange, somewhere where they weren't expecting. And Mr. Stamets is all fucked up. His eyes went all white
Milky.
on us.
Like a good milkshake.
But anyway, so we're now in this strange place. And everyone's kind of freaking out. And our Captain Lorca, he's looking mighty confused by everything. But then they eventually figure out that, oh no, we've actually transferred to some kind of alternate universe because some Vulcan ship shows up and tries to attack us. But another ship comes by, the USS Cooper, and they chase off the Vulcans, killing them perhaps,
Well,
we don't know.
We think it's the USS Cooper.
Oh, you're right, that's right, we think it's USS Cooper, but then what we come to find out is that we're actually in this alternate universe, and we got ourselves a mirror universe, in fact.
What?
And in fact, if you've been watching Star Trek as long as we have, you'll know exactly what universe this is. Somehow I've become Irish. I don't know how.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's
But it
segued
suddenly
smoothly.
happened, and I can't undo it now.
Oh god, you've gone from Scotty to who was Kirk's bully in the academy?
Finney.
Oh,
Finnegan.
Jimmy B boy.
Doodly doodly doo.
Oh, I think I'll just go off to the new world and visit America. Okay,
Wow.
now I'm here in America.
Here we are. We made it.
Yeah, so anyway, so we find that we're actually in the mirror universe, and it's not the USS Cooper, it's the ISS Cooper of the Terran Empire, the evil Terran Empire. And we find this out because we send, Tyler out in a pod.
Or do we?
Or do we? I don't know. We send him out, and he has a PTSD.
He just went on his own, that dick.
He has another PTSD situation, and like at some point they just got to pull this guy off the line. I'm like, it's stop putting him in these situations. Anyway, he has another PTSD episode, but he manages to steal like a data recorder from a wrecked ship that they find. They look at it and they're like, oh my god, we're in the ISS Empire universe. Lorca is a villain in this universe. He tried to revolt against the Emperor and is presumed dead. Or no, he's presumed missing. We don't know. He's gone because Burnham was the officer, the captain of the Shenzhou, who was sent to find him and bring him to justice. And she's also presumed dead because her shuttle was kerploded. Meanwhile, Discovery is actually under the command of Captain Sylvia Tilly. So now we're like, okay, shit, what do we do? We're in this strange place and everybody seems really angry. We are going to have to doll ourselves up, disguise ourselves to look like the Mirror Discovery, because we also think that maybe we switched places with the Mirror Discovery, so that ship's probably not here. We don't fucking know.
I forget if that comes up ever.
I don't think it does, but that's what we think happened. We think we switched places. It might come up later. Well, I hope it does. So we redo everything to make us look like the Mirror ISS Discovery. And then the Cooper comes back and they're like, hey, Discovery, why are you suddenly acting like a bunch of pussies? And Tilly has to be like, because we're having technical difficulties over here. Here, talk to my chief engineer. And then Lorca puts on this absolutely ridiculous, terrible Scottish accent. Not realistic at all.
Never heard one of those before.
And pretends to be the chief engineer and says, we're getting a problem over here, Captain. I can't do a Scottish accent. Why am I even trying? Anyway, yeah, so we're like, okay, what are we going to do? Well, we can find out, the way to get back might be on this ship called the Defiant, which you might remember from Enterprise, which was another ship from our universe that is kind of top secret, might still be here.
And TOS. Oh my God, so many references.
Yeah, so basically they need to figure out how to reverse the Tholian web, whatever. They don't talk about it, but that's the implication. But in order to do that, we need to get to the Shenzhou, which is Burnham's ship. So we're going to send Burnham back there and say she's not dead. We're going to bring Lorca as her prisoner. And we're going to send Tyler because we just want trouble. Prior to this, though, Tyler goes to visit Laurel in the brig and's like, hey, Laurel, what the fuck did you do to me? Why do I have all this PTSD? Why do I keep seeing your tits? And she's like, oh, let me go. Sorry, just clearing my throat. I'm going to say a magic prayer to you and undo your programming. Manchurian candidate, activate. And then she says something in Klingon, and then he says something in Klingon, and then it looks like he might be something happening, but then it doesn't work, and she's like, oh fuck, my Manchurian trigger didn't work, fuck me. And he goes to visit Culber and is like, okay, I need you to tell me what the Klingons did to me, because I'm really fucked up. But not too fucked up to go on missions. And Culber's like, I don't know. You seem pretty fucked up. Maybe I should tell somebody about this? Nah. So he scans Tyler and finds out that, oh my God, you aren't just fucked up by the Klingons. You were, like, recreated by the Klingons. Because, like, there's evidence that your bones were shortened and your face was messed with and your everything. And also your brain. So yeah, you're not you. And Tyler's like, that makes sense. Murders Culber. Just murders him. Not commented on again, but he's just dead now. Leaves, goes on the mission with Burnham and Lorca. We get to the Shenzhou. We meet Connor, who's the new captain.
Oh, Connor. It's great to see Connor.
Yeah, he died at the Battle of Binary Stars. And Burnham has some feelings about this. Like, oh my God, this guy who I kind of got killed is actually alive here. That's wonderful. And then she murders him in the turbo lift. But only because he tries to murder her. Yeah, he tries to do a murder on her.
He tries to do a mirror universe promotion.
Yeah, exactly. Even though he kind of already had the job, but whatever.
He was just keeping it warm.
Yeah, exactly. So he tries to do a murder on her, and she's like, nah, I'm going to do a murder on you. And then everyone on the bridge, there's a slow clap for reasons after the murder. And that's about where we are. And
then Tyler and Burnham bang because they both murdered men.
Yeah,
and
Tyler
that's their
and
kink.
Burnham, they have it. They both have, like, it's true.
Murder boners.
I've heard that. Yeah, exactly. I've heard that like people that can get sexual gratification from killing. So maybe these are just two incredibly psychopathic, fucked up people.
And meanwhile, Lorca's in an agony booth.
Oh yeah, he's
likes
getting agonized, and he's loving it too. Like he just keeps poking the glass.
Poking the glass. I don't
with his
boner,
know. I believe, is the
with
implication.
His large
that poke. Oh no, not with his hand. Damn it. Oh, one other thing I should mention about this episode. Our first Discovery episode, directed by Jonathan Frakes.
Oh yeah, I saw that on the credits there.
Riker, why are you doing this to me?
So I'd like to think if Brian Fuller had stuck around, because it's very important to him, as we said a few weeks ago, to have a gay relationship on here, that maybe they wouldn't have then immediately partaken in the bury your gays trope.
Here's the thing about that. They claim they kind of didn't, because they bring this up to GLAAD, and they're like, okay, read this script, tell us you approve, but also, and here's the important part, we promise he's not actually dead. And they've been saying this apparently since they came up with this we should kill Culber in this episode, that we promise we're going to bring Culber back in some way, shape, or form, so it will be impactful in this way, but it'll be undone later. And GLAAD said, thumbs up, do it.
It's like having your cake and eating it too.
They love it. They love cake. I love cake.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, like, other than the fact that it is killing off your, one of your very first on-screen gay characters, I don't hate that happened.
Well, I think if if it wasn't a gay couple, it wouldn't be as. But it's such a trope. It has a name, you know.
Right.
It's like,
yeah,
guys,
exactly.
come the fuck on.
I don't know. I forgive it because it is so in service of the plot. Like, it's not just, let's just kill this guy off because he's not necessary.
No, I know.
Like, he is literally going to tell on Tyler in the next scene.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, Tyler, I mean, and we'll get to Tyler, I guess, in a bit, but, you know, Culber dying, and like, I guess it's fitting that they're now in the mirror universe because we kind of maybe have backups for most of the characters.
Yeah,
here.
I think that was my assumption for the longest time since, you know, I think it leaked real fast. The Culber's probably coming back. A bit of lore there.
Well, yeah, I mean, the obvious answer is like,
just swipe someone from the mirror universe.
They kind of telegraph it in this episode with Connor. It's like, okay, anybody that died in the Prime universe, there's potentially a backup here that we can restore. We can Harry Kim them back into existence, but they're going to be fucked up and weird and maybe evil.
Yeah, Lorca says, like, so it's, yeah, we're definitely going to run into versions. Actually, no, the line was, we could meet another version of ourselves. And I'm like, it's guaranteed you're going to meet versions of yourselves. This is a fucking mirror universe, friends.
Well, see, here's the thing.
The point.
They don't get that they're in the mirror universe where logic doesn't exist. Because in reality, all these people shouldn't exist one for one. And even if they do, the size of space, the chances of actually running into yourself in a sane world, incredibly narrow. In the mirror universe where sanity and logic go 100%. To die, which, as anyone who's listened to the show for a long time know, that's not a complaint from me. The mirror universe
that you accept.
Yeah, the mirror universe is a stupid place, and the sooner you just accept that, I won't say the happier you'll be, but the more
you'll accept it. Yeah, the more that you'll just be like, okay, let's get on with this, and I'll stop questioning, because yeah, it is incredibly distracting. I think it's been distracting since Mirror Mirror that this is a place you can go where there's just alternate versions of yourselves. I think Deep Space Nine took that to a fucking extreme with, like, when Jadzia and Ezri swap, when Worf shows up at the exact time when Worf enters the show. Yeah. All this shit that's fucking fan wanky and shit. And I remember my first reaction when this episode came out and it was revealed, we're in the mirror universe, was, holy shit, Discovery has already jumped the shark.
I was so excited.
They have run out of original ideas. They have to fall back on this. Here's another stupid fact. Originally, the writers were going to feature the mirror universe much earlier in this season.
That would have been a bad idea.
In like episode 4 or 5, but they determined that you kind of need to know your main characters before you see their flippy-flop versions. Yeah. Because otherwise it's going to have no impact. You're not going to see, Sylvia Tilly is an entirely different person here because you don't know her yet.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the interesting thing, right, is we have Lorca, who's already evil in the Prime universe. So is Mirror Lorca, like, how much more... I guess he tried to overthrow the government. Maybe he's actually a good guy. Maybe that's the twist.
Kind of like Mirror
Lorca is the opposite of Prime Lorca. He's just a nice guy trying to, like, overthrow the tyrannical government.
Yeah, like I said, Mirror Quark was a decent fellow.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing, though, you got to give this version of the Mirror Universe. The women finally get to have proper uniforms.
Oh, God, the uniforms. Well, we discussed the uniforms a little bit in one of our blog activities. Go check it out on sshbtumblr.com. That's not the thing. SSHB podcast, tumblr.com, all the thing. The stupid thing about these uniforms, yes, they look impressive. Yes, they're very pretty. They're not Mirror Universe uniforms. They're entirely new uniforms that they decided to create because they have way too much budget on this fucking show. All the other Mirror Universe uniforms that we've seen have been the normal uniforms, but made evil and sexy. There are still... In the Enterprise uniforms, in the TOS uniforms, in any of the comic uniforms that you see, you can see the original uniforms in them and how they were kind of adjusted.
I think you can here because
I can't see them at all.
I can because don't count the captain's uniform because the captain's uniform has the additional armor piece, which is different. So take the armor piece away and like look at the other character, like look at Tyler's uniform. It is different. it's not, it's more different, I think, than like a TOS mirror universe uniform is, but I think it still has like the shouldery stripes.
Yeah.
And it's like, the collar is different.
Yeah, the collar,
and
cut,
it's all black.
The color.
But it's
so everything
like,
else, but it has stripes.
Well, yeah, it's clearly inspired by,
I don't see it at all, Jake.
It's more different than we've seen before in the mirror universe, but it's not like completely out of left field.
I think it's completely out of left field.
I mean, honestly, I'll take it just because, again, the women get to keep their midriffs covered. So
I'm not opposed to a covered midriff. I just think everyone should be sexed up if that's the goal you're going for.
Well, see, I don't think they are in this version.
I don't care. I'm just nothing these.
That's for me the one retcon I will very happily take here is the ultra hornifying of the mirror universe. That's the one thing with the mirror universe that I've never been super keen on, that they keep leaning into in the revisits. If they want to get rid of that, fucking great.
Well, here's the thing, is historically the mirror universe has been the place where Star Trek can be horny. They'll save the horniness for the mirror universe. But now in Discovery, they just have the Prime universe be the horny universe. So it's we don't need that anymore. We can just use the mirror universe for other things.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And that thing, I guess that's kind of why it happened. In the 60s, they could be a little hornier than usual. Not that those old costumes weren't horny every chance Gene got, but they got to be extra horny, because especially in the 60s, you go, well, of course they're horny. They're evil. And I think that maybe also just represents that as a culture, we've become less sexiness equals bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I like that. I do think it's jarring that Michael and Ash get horny after the murders. Ash fine because he's brainwashed. I accept that.
Yeah,
Michael
it's not even clear that he remembers murdering. He might not even.
Yeah, he might not even remember. But Michael just murdered a man whom she thought for a second, oh my God, this reminds me of trauma I experienced, and now it is giving me more trauma. She should be weeping in his lap. This would be a Michael Burnham cries that would be acceptable.
Yeah, it certainly is a thing.
Yeah. Anyway, the other element of the mirror universe that you see in this version that I want to get rid of promptly are the stupid mirror image Earths on their fucking insignias, which is so over-egged and stupid.
I did not notice the Earths were backwards.
Everywhere. And we discussed this before when we discussed
I believe you.
badges,
I just forgot.
Back in a different blog entry over on SSHB Tumblr.thing.
That is pretty stupid.
They're flippy flop. It's real dumb. It's stupid, and I hate that.
I mean, it's just, but if they've already done it before.
They haven't. This is the first time they've ever done this.
Oh, this is the first time.
Yeah, all the previous mirror universe insignias has just been the Earth with the sword through it. In this one, it's the Earth mirror imaged.
Well, so, okay, here we go. This is a different mirror universe.
But it still has the Defiant.
No, I know. I don't actually believe that.
It still expects you to remember both the Tholian Web and the Enterprise episodes for this plan to work.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, so that's the thing too, right? How much does this episode, or even the presence of the Defiant, how much does that rely on your knowledge of Enterprise and TOS? Because
they explained it a little, but I still think it's fan wank.
I mean, it certainly is.
Yeah, but the question,
if you had come into this show cold, if this is your first Star Trek, would you be confused, or would you just be accepting that there
was another one?
Yeah, I don't know, because the explanation is very brief, and I would that's the problem, is I cannot disconnect enough to be would that have been sufficient for me?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah, it could have been any other MacGuffin, too. They could have just said, we need more database. We need, I don't know, we found an area that connects the universes, and we have to find it.
Yeah, I mean, it was purely put in there to be a fan wank. Which is interesting because they show a wireframe diagram of the Defiant, and it doesn't it looks different. They've changed it. Its nacelle pylons are not correct, I'll say they're maybe correct, but they're not. Obviously, the ship has been refitted since it's been here in the mirror universe since the last time we saw it.
I remember that being a lot of discussion, not a lot, there was some discussion about that when this episode first premiered. The fact that, yeah, like the pylons actually like have an angle
bend.
in them now,
Yeah.
and like an extra little baby nacelle or something akin to that.
I'm assuming
And
it's like a gun.
Yeah, it is the mirror universe. And there's like notches in the saucer. And, at the time, obviously this is
But it's not the mirror universe. This is the original Defiant.
Well, the assumption is that
they kitted it out.
Yeah.
The ship has been there for over 100 years, right? At this point, or about 100 years. I don't know how long, but
yeah. So the assumption kind of among the fan base was that one of two things: either they are radically redesigning the Constitution class for the Prime universe, and this is our first peek at it, or two, they've since futzed with it a little in the Mirror universe and made modifications. And obviously we now exist in a world with Strange New Worlds, and we know that while they did slightly redesign the Constitution class, they did not redesign it that much. So yeah, it's apparently stuff the Mirror Universe people did to it, which makes sense, because like Jake said, they've had it for 100 years. Originally, when they were first using it, it was the most advanced thing in the quadrant because it was 100 years future tech.
In that case, they should be dissecting it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's the thing, too, that's kind of odd, is the ships like Discovery and the Shenzhou are about as advanced here as they are in the Prime universe. Mm-hmm. Yet the Mirror universe has like 100 extra years of
playing with the Defiant.
Yeah,
because they've had access to future technology that the Prime universe didn't.
Yeah,
I wonder if maybe there were emperors that kept that shit on the DL. I don't know.
Actually, here I got it. In the Mirror universe, there is also a different Defiant, the ISS Defiant, that went into the Mirror universe's Tholian web, got sent to the Prime universe in Archer's time. Section 31 got a hold of it.
Oh my goodness!
And so like, it's not that they've had 100 extra years; it's that we've both had 100 years with each other's versions of the Defiant to advance, and that's why we've stayed relatively parallel.
Heckin' yikes.
Yeah.
Do we think the mirror version of Section 31 is Section 13 because it's flipped?
Oh, maybe.
Definitely.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about Tyler a little bit, because we get some information, sort of. Is Tyler, is it just going to be revealed, or can it just be my headcanon that Tyler is Arn Darvin? That like
no.
At some point after the show, right? Because without spoiling anything, I don't think we see any more of Ash Tyler after season 2 of Discovery. Spoiler alert. But he doesn't die. Like he's not gone. We just don't visit that character again. So it's not inconceivable that he is Arn Darvin.
Maybe he's the actual reason for the smooth head Klingons.
Well, that was going to be my other thing, right? So the Klingons have gone through all this trouble to make... okay, so first, just to get the obvious out of the way, even though it's not stated directly in this episode, Tyler is a Klingon who has been surgically reconfigured to appear human.
Yeah, like the reviews I've read from the time, like from right when this episode came out, already they figured out the trick.
Yeah, like you can probably guess which Klingon, although it hasn't been said in the episode.
You just said Arn Darvin.
Yeah. No. But since they haven't said it, I'm going to pretend I don't know and just say that...
in case anyone is listening in real time and never watched it before.
Okay, it's pretty obvious, I think, from this episode that Ash Tyler is a Klingon in disguise, in deep disguise.
Klingons in disguise.
Yeah, and super sleeper agent in here.
Also a sleeper agent. And I can't help but think, this is a Romulan level convoluted bullshit plan. I am expecting it to be later revealed that L'Rell is actually Sela in disguise.
Nice.
With how stupid this plan is. Because, okay, the Klingons, they want to get a sleeper agent onto the Discovery in order to steal... I'm assuming the plan here is to steal the spore drive, right? Because that's what they've wanted all along.
Maybe, or just Michael. Who knows? She is the most important thing.
They didn't know about the spore drive. They just knew there was something special about Discovery. So he's presumably been sent there to discover what's special about it.
But then Mud has, too. What about Mud?
Well, see, Mud was working on his own.
Yeah,
this is something he decided to do. But also, like, there's... You can have multiple people being like, okay, we're going to try a couple different ways. But again, also, Mud is very much an independent agent. That was his idea, and he wanted revenge on Lorca.
So anyway, so we need to get a sleeper agent onto the Discovery. And somehow they thought it was easier, rather than just torturing and brainwashing or doing this mind wipe on an actual human and doing like a Geordie type Manchurian Candidate situation. They do the literal hardest thing they could have done, and not just reprogram an actual Klingon, but surgically alter them. And these aren't TOS Klingons that are easily to disguise as human by lightening their skin and shaving their beards.
Not even a TNG Klingon.
So is Tyler like a turducken then? He's just got a Klingon shoved inside of him?
I think they took a Klingon
and shoved him into a human.
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah, but like not a literal... Like, I don't think they took the corpse of Ash Tyler, the real human boy. I think maybe Ash Tyler was a real human boy that's dead.
Yep.
And the Klingons had his body and are like, okay, we're going to turn this Klingon over here to make him look exactly like this guy, and also make his brain work exactly like this guy.
Oh, see, I always
give him all of his memories.
Okay, I misremembered how this worked. Then I assumed they took pretty Ash Tyler corpse laying over here and shoved a Klingon in it.
Yeah, no,
But they talk about how his Culber says like your bones were shortened, so that implies that they took that Ash Tyler's body that we see on the show is a radically reconfigured Klingon body.
Yeah, maybe they just took the skin and then wrapped it around, and then had to shorten the bone so it would fit.
Like Edgar in Men in Black.
Yeah, he's an Edgar suit, the Ash Tyler suit.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they had to remove his redundant organs, his extra spinal thing, his extra hog. Yeah. They had to. Here's the thing, because the Klingon heads, aside from being very, very pointy, they're also very long in this design.
Yeah, they're like xenomorph heads.
So either their brains are still human-sized in shape despite the shape of their skull, or they also had to somehow squish down his brain.
Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of brain in there. I think in the Klingon head,
they had to chop a lot of that Klingon brain. He's very dumb.
Well, I think
he's very dumb now.
In the Klingon skull, I think mostly that's padding.
It's probably all like padding and armor.
It's just a natural helmet.
But yeah, so like
couple extra dicks.
In order to, because the other difference with Klingons, as we know, is they have a lot of redundant organs.
Yeah, I was going to say, they had to yank those out.
And I'm assuming that the organs that are there don't look the same as human organs. So even a very basic scan should be like, you got a really fucking weird heart, dude.
Unless, oh God, maybe they removed all of his Klingon organs and put in Tyler's?
Or just other humans they have laying around.
And that's why this is such a stupid idea. This is such a stupid thing. Okay. Because the way easier thing to do, here's the thing. If you have an Ash Tyler, dead or alive, right?
You're coming with me.
Yes. Maybe they could have just been like, okay, if he's alive, you just be like, no, okay, so you've got a Klingon consciousness that's replaced yours somehow. Magic, whatever.
Do you trust a human though to do any of this shit for you?
You just need the body, right? You need to like replace his brain. Like maybe that's it. Maybe they swapped it a literal physical brain swap.
Oh, they just Frankensteined this guy.
They Frankensteined him. Or the other thing is how to make a Klingon look human. As if there was like some sort of biological agent,
like an augment virus,
a virus of some kind that could make Klingons turn human in appearance.
Don't acknowledge that episode.
Well, of course not. But like they're already referring to Enterprise. They're treating Enterprise as if it's canon, which is ridiculous. I
mean,
but so they could bring back the augment virus. It would certainly make more sense.
Oh,
maybe,
boy.
Honestly, maybe it had to be a combination of things, like. Because here's the thing. The one thing that doesn't make sense, either all right, so we assumed all this scarring was because of torture, not surgery. We assume this, people, fine. Motherfucker still's got Klingon DNA, and presumably. And, like, yeah, in this day and age, you're not going to test DNA for no good reason, but it's the 23rd century. Checking someone's DNA is as simple as going woodly woodly woo. So, I mean, unless there was also some sort of gene manipulation, which maybe there was.
Well, again, and, like, here's the thing. I'm just going to come out and say it. I think Culber is a terrible fucking doctor because he's examined Tyler before.
Well, we don't know that we don't know that it was him. He is not the CMO.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I won't say Culber. I'll say whatever doctor previously examined Tyler sucks.
Yeah, they wrote everything off as a
This?
torture. They said, look at all the torture they must have done to you, and didn't check any further.
But I will say this of Culber. He should have relieved Tyler of duty the second he came in and said, I'm having fucking weird shit happen to me.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, we said the same thing about when Stamets was having weird shit happen to him.
Yeah. Also, it's about damn time, even if it does have to be Lorca, somebody agrees with me that Hugh shouldn't be his husband's fucking doctor.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Lorca.
I said that weeks ago.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Actually, okay. Does Lorca know about Burnham and Tyler?
He seems to.
The banging, you mean?
Yeah, the banging, the constant banging, which I'm into. But it also means he should not therefore be her bodyguard, regardless of whatever else is going on with him.
Not.
He's had, and like everybody knows that he had a PTSD episode.
Everybody
on the Klingon
knows.
ship, and everybody knows that he had a PTSD episode in the Scout trying to retrieve that log book or whatever. Lorca is either deliberately trying to sabotage ship by continuing to put.
I'm for that one. That one seems right.
Well, because it's like at some point you're just like, fucking Tyler, man. He's a nice guy.
He's pretty.
Hot, but he's fucking nuts. You cannot put him in a situation where it's going to trigger his PSD and put the entire mission at risk, especially something as critical as what you're doing right now. You're putting... Okay.
Let Reese do it. He hasn't done anything.
What are obviously the two most important people on the ship, even though they're still trying to pretend that Burnham isn't the first officer, even though Saru's been sidelined the whole season. But
he had one episode.
All but in name, you're putting the two most important characters on the ship, Lorca and Burnham, into grave danger.
Oh, definitely.
That's Star Trek for you.
And that's fine. I buy that. They do that all the time. But your third in this situation, and I get it, he's the chief of security, is someone who has had two major mental breakdowns in a matter of 2 days or a day. It might have been the same day because it's possible the same day.
Yeah, probably was like just a couple days. You're right.
It does make me wonder how long they've been researching, because they get to the Mirror Universe. They should have put in weeks worth of research into this log thing to know this much information that apparently only Michael is reading or something, because we don't hear anybody else say this shit. But I guess she's done it in an hour. There's no way they should have all this information this quickly.
Well, I mean, also, good God, the evil... Have they ever said the name of evil Starfleet?
What? Is it not just Starfleet?
I don't know.
The Terran Empire?
I think it's still Starfleet. I think it's still called Starfleet.
Yeah, I don't know if they've ever actually said it on screen, like that they're Starfleet or the Imperial Navy or... Anyway.
I'm pretty sure it's been referred to as Starfleet, but
either way, their counterintelligence must be fucking terrible, because all this came from stuff that the non-Terran rebellion group there stole from them. Like, the amount of data they managed to get, because they basically just seem to have straight up stolen a Starfleet core at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know exactly what Killy's uniform looks like and what its cut is and what.
Well, it seems like it's a full copy of the Starfleet database.
Yeah.
You know? And like it even, so like supposedly Defiant has this top secret thing, but apparently it's common enough knowledge that they have a picture of it.
Yeah.
And I guess the one thing they don't know is where it is.
How many guns are on it?
Many.
Well, I'm imagining it's 100-year-old ship. It's got to be a museum piece by now. Like, I'm shocked if it's literally. Okay.
In the Terran Empire,
we don't know what happened.
They don't have museums.
They must. They with all the heads of all the races that
their version of museum, yes. So that makes sense.
Their version of museum is like the Museum of Conquest.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
It's gonna be, and like the warship, their most powerful warship that allowed them to conquer the galaxy is certainly going to be the central element, unless it's still in service, unless it's like the Emperor's personal ship or whatever. So the last time we see it, though, it's captained by Hoshi, who declares herself the Emperor, right?
Hot.
Am I making that up?
Nope. She declares herself Emperor at the end of that episode. She
declares herself Emperor at the end of the episode.
Girl boss.
We don't know, obviously, like, the rest of the Empire could have been like, yeah, fuck no, and just, or, for all we know, Mayweather stabbed her in the neck 2 seconds after that. We don't know.
No Mayweathers are allowed to do things.
Right. So, but let's assume that things proceeded as they trying to kind of lead us to at the end of that episode, and say that, okay, Hoshi effectively usurps the Emperor, becomes the Emperor herself, and uses the Defiant as her personal weapon of conquest to secure her power, to consolidate all of her power. So presumably we're now in the Sato dynasty of the Empire. So unless another emperor usurped that dynasty later,
I imagine there has never been a successful dynasty in the Mirror Universe.
No, I'm assuming like some chief advisor murders the emperor.
It's just like that fucking liquid people planet from Futurama.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure there's no I'm sure being the emperor's next in line of succession is the most dangerous position to have.
Yeah.
Next to the emperor, perhaps? I don't know.
I mean, let's be honest.
I'm guessing there's no hereditary.
You have a kid, and honestly, it's just as likely the emperor will kill their own child because they're like, wait a minute, I've made my own replacement. Ah!
Yeah, right. Because obviously the child's just going to kill the parent once they're capable of it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so my point is that like the Defiant is going to obviously be a very historically significant ship to this empire. So I wouldn't be surprised if it were in some kind of museum, which means that it would probably be on public display. Like, why is it still top secret after 100 years?
Yeah.
It's just an excuse. That's why I think it is very fan wanky to have the Defiant be involved.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember. I don't think it really ends up mattering that much.
I don't think
to them getting back.
Yeah, it's like those wisp people, the Pavans from that planet that ended up being inconsequential as fuck.
What a mid-episode.
Yeah, the Defiant it's a MacGuffin that is only used to give Burnham and Lorca an excuse to go to the Shenzhou so that they can be there. And really, it's also a way to get Tyler off the ship, I think, so that when Culber's body is discovered, he won't be there to take responsibility for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoopsie. Yeah, I will say, changing gears a little bit, that as much as I find the turn into the Mirror Universe kind of exhausting and unnecessary and wank. Fucking, this is, I think, the first time I've thought like, oh, Tilly is fun. I'm fine with Sylvia Tilly going forward for at least a little while here, because watching her struggle to be Killy is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they've given Tilly less in the I think that early in the show, in like the first handful of episodes, especially the episode 3 when she's introduced, they just lay it on thick with Tilly, and like that it's just like the annoying cadet who's just like too enthusiastic to do everything.
Yeah, right? I think they realized they had to scale it back.
Yeah, so they dialed it back, and
they also acknowledged it. Like they said, they say to her, okay, when you're on the phone, talk as little as possible. And she's like, how?
Yeah. But I think even
a good joke.
Prior to this episode, and I haven't called it out and haven't given it credit, but thinking about it, I do think that the writers have dialed back the Tilly.
Yeah.
Where she's just kind of peppered into episodes to do awkward things.
She also has a lot of science babble shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. They use her as kind of the science babble. She gets to say the F word. Fucking stupid. Her
delivery of assholes was much more natural.
Yeah, that was much better in terms of cursing on Star Trek, that felt more like natural speech. So yeah, I actually really, I won't say I really love the character still, but I am less bothered by the character.
Yeah, I like her in this episode.
And I liked her in this episode. I think.
Yeah, she's great. Love Killy.
I think it is very fan wanky isn't the right word for it because it's not like a callback, but it is making Tilly the captain over, all of the other potential people.
Oh, it's definitely a callback because a couple episodes ago, Stamets, in one of his insane babbling things, called her captain.
Oh, yeah. No, obviously. Yeah. So, that's true. And that hasn't come back yet. I'm assuming it will.
I don't remember.
Like Stamets has some sort of connection to his mirror universe counterpart, presumably.
Oh, I don't remember. We'll have to get there pretty soon.
Yeah, I suppose maybe part of the idea, too, is that, like, part of the reason she's been, even before this episode, kind of scaling back is because she actually has, someone working with her actively instead of just shoving her in a corner and telling her to do stuff. She
that
actually
person
gets...
being Stamets?
No, Michael.
Oh, because she's been working with Stamets a lot.
And then, once Stamets chills out because of the spores,
covering
probably.
for his stupid ass.
Yeah, but, I feel like that's kind of maybe supposed to be part of the idea. Is, now that Michael is there and, actually befriending her was the impression you get as people tried to avoid her at all human cost previous. It's kind of also a Barkley thing.
And yet she's banged so many band members.
Yeah.
Maybe she was less awkward in the academy.
Maybe.
Getting onto a ship kind of unlocked something or...
Well, regardless, she's hot in this. Her deliveries are all very fun. I enjoy it. I forget how much more we see of Captain Killy, but I enjoy her.
I think I liked her hair. I like Mirror Tilly's hair.
It's ombre.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also cut in little jagged kind of stripes.
Yeah, but it's also straightened too. It's not as kinky as her other do.
Yeah. I imagine that's got to be a wig.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sure.
Certainly.
Granted, that means they somehow plastered all that hair down under a wig cap,
which is insane.
Well, you'd be shocked what they can put under wig caps.
It blows my mind.
Yeah, they are really good at that. Even Monty Python back in the 70s, Eric Idle actually had very wavy, shoulder-length hair for the entire run of that show. So anytime you saw him with short hair, it was a wig. And they were just cramming all of his hair under a cap.
Oh, we also get a triumphant return of the threat ganglia, which haven't come up in a while.
Yeah, those don't come up. Yeah, well, they're probably very expensive to animate.
You think?
Well, because, you have to put, photorealistic things. It's just, it's...
I would use a puppet.
Well, yes, obviously, but...
It does get to something that we were kind of dancing around way back, because we couldn't talk about it yet. But they popped out when Tyler got onto the bridge. And I know a while ago, one of you, I think it might have been you, Ames, maybe it was one of the three of you, did say, wait a minute, how come these aren't popping out around somebody? And that somebody, of course, was Tyler.
Oh, that is not the somebody we were referring to.
Oh. Okay, yeah, that's also a question. But also, yeah, it's interesting that now that Tyler's, clearly these things are more than just... There has got to be some sort of mild psychic ability to Tholians, no, Kelpians, for this to make sense, because it's only now that the mental dam in Tyler's head is beginning to break down that the threat ganglia pop out when he walks onto the bridge.
I did not realize that was because of him. I thought it was because they were realizing where they were.
Well, I also thought, wasn't that also right when the Vulcans showed up?
No, they were already in the middle of... Or was it? I don't know, but I know they made a point, they popped out right after they cut away from Taylor.
And I think that was
Tyler.
like a wink to the audience, but I wasn't sure if they were trying to hedge and be like, oh, maybe they're popping out because of the Vulcans are attacking.
I imagine they probably timed the scene the way they did to obscure it. Yeah. But now it's one of those in retrospect things. You're like, okay. Yeah. Kind of like the episode title Lethe. Which, of course, as we said at the time, is the river you pass through that wipes your memory.
Yeah, and not just a reference to that character from Dagger of the Mind.
Yeah, this is where we meet Tyler. Well, Tyler in now air quotes in the episode Lethe.
Yeah.
hey, you fight like a Klingon in that next episode. Like, all this shit I definitely didn't pick up on the first time. That in retrospect is really in your face.
Yeah. Well, and then just like obviously his obvious connection with Laurel.
Yeah. But again, first time through, like, yeah, it's his torturer, of course. It's like, I feel like they didn't, at least for me, maybe I don't know, I think I'm good at picking up on shit, but I missed all of it, like,
yeah,
they did a decent job, I think, of seeding things that when you go back, you go, oh, fuck, they were telling us all along. Because a good twist should, in retrospect, be fucking obvious.
Yeah, it's like, if you watch, like, have you ever seen Arrested Development, Chris?
No. Like,
watch Arrested Development
episodes.
Seasons 1 through 3. Ignore the last 2.
Yeah, I heard the Netflix ones weren't good.
They're fine, but they're not in the main structure. So the first 3 are kind of in their own thing.
Yeah.
Watch them and then watch them again and see all the references to things that they make the whole time. And it's
I've heard
great.
It's pretty well structured.
It's incredibly well structured. Like they had a plan going in, and they wanted you to see.
Again, of all things, Gravity Falls, which I think I've mentioned before, like, especially for a cartoon, very intricately structured, clues there from so early on that a fan picked up on it, was like, I think this is what's happening. The show creators were like, shit, he has rumbled us way too early. They intentionally made a fake leak to make it look like that guy was wrong.
Nice. Yeah, so, I don't know. I take a lot of issues, I think, with as I mentioned, like the Klingons' plan here with Tyler.
Yeah, the more you think about it, the more absolutely convoluted, batshit insane it is.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
We want a sleeper agent on Discovery, so yeah, they capture Lorca, they let him get away, because Jake, you definitely mentioned, their escape seemed oddly easy, and we know why.
And who is the they in this? Because I thought, like, Laurel was acting on her own with
didn't
this plan?
Yeah, as far as we know, because she obviously wasn't working for Cole.
Oh yeah, fuck that guy. She hated that guy.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Well, we know even from Cole's last appearance that, like, he still hadn't gotten quite everyone to heal. I don't think he's super popular. He just has the cloaks. So, like, there could definitely still be some disparate houses out there, or members of houses being like, that she's sort of working for / representing.
Oh yeah, she was in the House of Deception or something. Was that where she lived?
That was one of her houses.
Good for her.
But like, yeah, like Klingons love a civil war. But yeah, like wanting to get a sleeper agent on the Discovery makes sense. There's got to have been an easier way to do it.
Yeah.
This is what a century of decadence does to the Klingon mind.
Did you notice that the test to determine if you're a Manchurian candidate is called the Manchurian test?
Yeah. Oh, well, we used to call brainwashing.
No, I missed that.
Culber's like, oh, we even gave you the Manchurian test to see if you had a.
Oh, Culber, no.
And I'm just like, no, writers. Like, that felt like somebody was writing the script and like put like, okay, we got to come up with a better name for this later, but the placeholder is the Manchurian test.
That is so dumb.
And then it just stayed. And I was like, oh.
I will say, yeah, that's pretty, it's pretty fucking silly. Yeah. Like, guys, come on.
I also like Culber's reference to like how Stamets doing, and he says, well, alternating between catatonic and nonsensical speech, so nothing new.
Also, we are going to leave out the fact that he apparently has super strength now.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
Like, it'd be one thing if he just knocked Culber over, but he like launches him across the room.
Yeah.
The strength of a tardigrade.
That's what it is.
So there's one aspect of this episode that, I don't know, that I felt like maybe they were trying to do. I don't know. Tell me if this makes sense. So Burnham goes to the Shenzhou.
Yep.
She kills Connor.
Oh, rip Connor. I liked him.
But then she walks onto the bridge and everyone's like, and Connor's body falls out of the elevator, and everyone on the bridge kind of like is like, fuck. And then they start clapping. They do a slow clap. It's kind of corny. But the person that was at the con was Detmer.
Mirror Detmer. And she has this look of like admiration on her face for For Burnham?
For Burnham. And part of me is like, are they setting up that Burnham gets to this mirror universe and finds herself accepted and appreciated and like worshipped by her crew?
No, I didn't get that.
And like really looked up to. But like, wouldn't that be kind of good? Like from a narrative perspective, it's like, because they set up and the reason I don't love it is because they never kept it going that Burnham was a pariah on the Discovery. Like after the first couple episodes, they're like, they kind of dropped that. But if they had kind of kept that going so that Burnham was like consistently treated like shit by everybody except Lorca and Tilly or something, like everybody's like, yeah, we don't want you here, mutineer. And then she gets to the mirror Shenzo, and it's like, okay, I did have to do some fucked up shit, but like, there's actually something kind of nice about not being a pariah. And like this person, like Detmer, this person who's treated me so poorly since I've come to the Discovery, over here thinks I'm the fucking tits. So I don't know. I could see like there being some internal conflict, especially for someone with kind of a Vulcan mind, giving like, let's tempt Burnham a little bit with some mirror universe nonsense.
Yeah.
I didn't get any of that.
Or at least like, have her be sort of conflicted. It's like, why am I popular here?
I don't know. I don't think that's the story the Discovery writers are trying to tell. They're trying to tell the story of Burnham's redemption, and this is not a place for someone to get redeemed. I don't think they want her to look tempted by being in a place full of killers. I thought it was just everyone on the bridge must have really hated Connor.
Oh yeah, I think that's implied. Like Connor was a hard ass or something.
I thought he was a pissant.
My read for the awkward clap was like, everyone knew he was going to try to kill her, and were maybe expecting him to be successful. So there was this moment of shock when his body fell out. There was like, yeah, woo! All right.
See, I read into the line that he gives in the turbo lift that says, oh, and they, I took command as captain and they bowed to me, but they never bow as deeply as they bowed to you. And it's all him being fickle and jealous.
Yeah.
That he was never going to be a good captain, that he only got here through circumstance. Like he did not earn his way here, and he was not going to win this fight.
It's because he always does like the annoying pilot talk joke anytime he's commanding the ship.
I did fucking love that fight choreo in the turbo lift, though.
Yeah, I was thinking that, like, good fight choreography, especially in a small space. Confined, that's what I went at. Confined fight choreography is a special kind of difficult, and they've really worked with it well.
Yeah, they even said, like, okay, it was one thing getting the fight choreography down, but then you also have to cram a camera person in there with you. And how do you do that? Like, that was the difficult thing they said was, okay, it's fine that we can, punch and throw each other around, but we also have to mind the camera.
Yeah.
And that was really, really good. And I also read about our good friend Dan B. Connor, that his actor, Sam Bartholomew's, possibly, he gets called in and he's like, oh, it's going to be for like a flashback or something else that's going on. And he had no idea until they brought him into wardrobe for his Mirror Universe costume that he was going to be the Mirror Universe version of himself.
Nice.
Which is fun.
They didn't give him a script until they were dressing him?
I don't think they give people scripts until the day sometimes.
Yeah, if they're trying, especially if they're trying to keep plot points under wrap, they give it to as few people as possible.
Yeah. I also read that in that fight, because it's so tight quarters and you can't not really hit each other a little bit.
Yeah.
That Sonequa accidentally kicked him in the groin. And he accidentally punched her in the side of the head.
Oh!
And then
after getting kicked in the groin, I'm not sure how accidentally the punch to the head was.
Well, he said he apologized and she laughed it off and said, that was actually amusing because I've never been hit there before. Oh. Which, Sonequa being a badass.
Fair enough. Deary dear. Yeah, no, that's a great fight, though.
Yeah, really good fight.
I do love that for all the stuff they've redesigned, though, they still have the same stupid knives from TOS.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've always thought they look a little flimsy, and, like, I'd have been okay if they maybe just beefed up the handle a little, even.
Who decided that fascist attire has to be, like,
opulent?
Hugo
Well,
Boss.
not even yeah. The Mirror Universe uniforms, whether or not they look different than the Prime uniforms, I think look great. They're cut better. They're just like I like the collars on them. They're just well
having
designed
shielding
outfits.
built in makes sense too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even the captain's armor is cool.
Not enough
captain
sashes.
But it's but it's unmistakably fascist.
Yeah.
And Chris says Hugo Boss, and I'm thinking, yeah, fucking Nazis, man. What don't they ruin?
Yeah. But yes, for those who don't know, Hugo Boss literally designed Nazi uniforms.
And they look damn great, and it's a shame. It's a crying shame.
We could all agree, unironically, that Nazi uniforms are great uniforms, but they're associate just like the fucking toothbrush mustache, whatever.
I think it's fine that he ruined that. The only person upset about that was Charlie Chaplin.
That was never great, but yeah, fucking Nazis, man. Fuck those guys.
What's interesting is, Ames, you mentioned the lack of sash, but they do kind of suggest it with the swoop in the half armor that the non-captain crew wears.
Was there a swoop?
Well, in that the way their armor just kind of cuts diagonally across their
I meant
chests.
like a belt sash.
Oh, right. I see. Yes. No, there's nothing of that kind.
Of course,
I do like
because they did away with canon.
Yeah, I do like though that the captain has a full torso armor, which means they're more protected against stabbing than anyone lower who does have a whole half of their torso just exposed, which I think is very intentional in the Mirror Universe.
I have two other nits to pick.
Go.
Oh boy.
If this has happened before and I haven't noticed yet, fine. But this is the first time I've noticed and been entirely fucking taken out of one of their technobabble moments where all they do is circle the camera around and around and around the people technobabbling.
Oh yeah, I fucking hated that.
Until you want to fucking hurl.
Yeah, the scene where Lorca and Burnham and Saru are talking in the ready room, the camera is constantly orbiting for the whole scene.
It's
and
dizzying.
even when it cuts to different angles, it cuts to just the same orbiting camera at a different... So when they were filming that scene, they must have had the camera on some sort of rig that just orbited, and they just started the scene each take with the camera at a different position,
right?
At a different starting position, so that when they were editing it, they could be like, okay, I need to cut to Burnham, so I need to find the take where Burnham was in the shot at this moment.
I'm not gonna lie, that does sound fucking awful. I somehow didn't notice. I don't know how, because it sounds very obnoxious. I don't know if this is the first time it came up.
It's the first I've noticed, yeah.
It's the first time I've really noticed it, because it's so much the whole scene is just the camera in one constant orbit, but it's not a single shot. There's cuts, but they're cuts to other orbiting shots.
And we're going to see it more and more and more.
Yeah,
so
and
be prepared for me to
one of the things that I absolutely hated about about the way that they shot some of these scenes. It's just what is wrong with a static shot of a character talking? If you watch the show, if you watch it with that in mind, you'll start to realize how frequently they have unnecessary camera movements.
I think the real shame too is if this is the first time they've done this and they end up doing it more in future, it's Jonathan Frakes' fault for setting the precedent.
And I don't like that.
I kind of wonder if every time it happens, if it's an episode he directed now. We'll have to keep an eye out.
I don't think so. I think it just kind of becomes part of the style of the show.
Because otherwise, all these technobabble scenes, because, the problem with technobabble is they are boring to listen to. Because it's all jargon that's made up nonsense that isn't actually interesting. Yeah. So I'm sure it's them trying to do something with the camera to keep people engaged. But it's terrible. I really hate it.
In this particular scene, I think the reason why they chose to do it is because they're talking in the ready room, and across the table they have a really nicely rendered hologram that's I think it's supposed to be depicting like the mirror universe, but the diagram itself is fairly nonsensical to the viewer, but it looks cool. So because it's a 3D hologram, as the camera's orbiting, you're seeing like it's showcasing the
why
the
isn't the
visual effects
hologram
more.
spinning?
Right, they could have done that too.
Or they could have made a better technobabble scene.
Yeah, exactly. So they wanted to do this technobabble scene where they're explaining the mirror universe. So they were like, okay, let's get the visual effect in here to do this fancy hologram, and to make it even cooler, we'll constantly orbit, because the hologram is like the center of the orbit, right? That we're actually orbiting the hologram. So, why don't we do this orbit thing, and that'll really showcase the visual effects, which will distract the audience from the fact that this scene is really just a big talkie and not very interesting.
I have no clue how I didn't notice that.
Yeah, go back if you feel inclined and just watch that one scene. It's the scene where Lorca, who apparently knows way more about this than anybody else, explains the mirror universe to the audience and to Burnham and Saru at the same time.
Yeah, well, it kind of builds on him and Stamets discussing it last week, I guess.
Him and who?
Yeah.
Stamets. Is it Stamets? It's Stamets, isn't it?
It is Stamets.
Why did I say Stamets?
But you would say Stamets every time.
Do I? Huh.
You do. Go back and listen when you're editing to previous episodes. You'll see you consistently say Stamets.
Unless one of us has just said it, and then you get it right.
Oh dear, I never noticed.
Jake pointed this out to me just earlier, and I was like, I'm going to see if Chris does it today.
Huh. Well, now I'm not going to unhear that.
Oh no!
We'll see if I remember to say it right going forward.
I know, true. Like Betazoids. Good luck.
No, I'll never remember that.
No, that one I think is just boiled into your brain.
Damn it,
the other thing that pissed me off, and I can see that there could be a reason, but I still think it's a stupid line. Burnham comes up to Tyler in mess hall, and she says, "Izik for your thoughts?" And he's like, "What's an Izik?" And she's, old Vulcan saying, no one actually knows where it came from. And it's like, no, it's not. It's a human saying. And how are you trying to work this into the fucking Vulcans? Are you saying the Vulcans stole Earth idiom and claimed it as their own?
I did come up with a very, 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 very exceptionally, I hate it, stupid explanation for it that you will not like.
Oh, I expect to hate it. Go for it.
To Grandma or whatever accidentally brought it back from Earth. Tamir brought it back. She's like, penny for your thoughts? And people were like, what the fuck are you talking about? So she said Izik. It's
I
stupid,
do hate it. I hate it.
I mean,
but it is the only thing that makes sense that I could think of.
I mean, other than making it a spacey thing to say because it's Vulcan.
Yeah.
She was raised on Vulcan by a human mother.
True.
Who would presumably know human idioms, so she could have just said penny for your thoughts. Ash could still be like, what's that? And she's like, I don't know. It's
what's a penny? We don't have pennies anymore.
I do like the idea that the Vulcans somehow got this expression. They don't know how. She hears them, she being Amanda, hears them saying it and is quietly giggling to herself the whole time. Because I don't know how you cope with being her on Vulcan unless it's to quietly laugh at Vulcans the entire time.
That's got to be it, because otherwise just isolation and sadness.
Yeah.
And a lot of cake. I would have a lot of cake.
Much. Maybe it's like a trad wife thing. We don't know.
Oh.
She's just kept at home.
Sad face. No, we like Amanda.
No, I know. Amanda's pretty good.
But yeah, I blame it on Tamir. She accidentally brought it back from Earth.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot because Jake and I are doing a rewatch of Farscape right now, and Farscape is fucking excellent. But some of my favorite things are whenever Crichton, the Earthman, he's constantly spouting Earth idiom. And every time the aliens are like, what the fuck are you ever saying? We never understand you. And I love that.
Well, my favorite one is that like Dargo, who's kind of like his bro.
I love him.
Bro on the ship.
Love him so much.
He tries to pick up. Like, you can tell he's trying to pick up the idioms, but he misuses them or misremembers them and says the wrong thing, but you can tell what he was trying to say, and it's always very endearing.
So he kind of Biff Tannins it?
Yeah, kind of.
Nice.
Yeah, it's endearing. It's very cute.
Yeah, I gotta watch more of that. It's a good-ass show.
Yeah, I really would love to, when we're maybe between series at some point, just do a full Farscape coverage. Speaking of Amanda eating lots of cake, you know who else likes cake? Pineapple cake.
Yeah.
Ah, Mr. Reed.
Our boy.
Old Pineapple Reedy.
Oh, Malky boy.
I did get stuff from Caitlin,
Prove
who
it.
is currently in an isolation field in sickbay.
Oh, yeah, we haven't actually said that Caitlin's not here today. I wonder if people picked up on it.
Well, she didn't introduce herself, so, sadly she is unwell, so could not be here today. Again, I am just the messenger, so you can't shoot me for anything she wrote.
Oh, are they all dumb? Are they dumb ones?
No, but there's not necessarily examples specifically, as you would like.
All right, they're not making the list then.
I'm just the messenger.
All right, well, let's start with, in our character spotlight, with some good moments from Malcolm Reed.
I will start with Caitlin.
Do it.
Good things. He was introvert representation.
Oh my fucking God, Caitlin, you're so bad at this.
He and Trip are bros, and that means he and I are bros.
Aww.
Doing whatever it takes to eat pineapple. My man.
Okay, that's an example.
Yeah, that's good.
We like
Getting
that
his special
one.
Injections.
Yeah, those aren't bad. I can go.
Go ahead.
I have more specific moments, I think.
Oh, thank God.
I'm going to say, I don't know if I'm totally remembering what happened here, but I'm going to give him credit for inventing the force field.
He did. I have that down too. That was in Vox Sola, the one with the jizz alien.
Yeah, where he's like, oh, people have been playing with this idea, but it hasn't ever really worked, and then he kind of figures out the secret sauce.
Yeah, on the fly.
That's right. I forgot about that. We're like, wait a minute. So he's just a fucking theoretical physicist now?
Yeah, apparently. Oh, it's just something I've been tinkering with in my off hours. I'm gonna say, so in Shuttlepod 1, which overall pretty good episode, but there's a moment that I wanted to mention, which is when Trip is about to space himself to save Malcolm. Malcolm shoots him and refuses to let him do that. So saving Trip's ass, which was good because then Enterprise shows up 30 seconds later and they're fine.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have, this is kind of controversial, I think, because it's also possibly one of the bad moments. And that is, but the moment, it's related to a really bad thing, I would say, but it's a good thing that he did in the end. And that is defying his Section 31 handlers.
Ooh.
And telling Archer the location of the Klingon base where Phlox was being held.
Was that in Affliction or Divergence? One of those?
Probably Divergence.
It was one of those.
It was that twofer.
Yeah. Wow. Unless that's what Section 31 wanted all along.
I don't think so, because Harris was pretty pissed off about it.
Oh, okay, good. Well, fuck that guy.
Yeah, he sucks. So, this is something he does a lot, but I chose a specific one just to narrow it down and to get a screenshot. He's a ballsy fucker who's always up for a daring mission. Mm-hmm. And the one I decided to go with is Detained, where he breaks into that Suliban prison camp, disguised as a Suliban, no less. Yeah. But he's always it just seems like if there's a crazy fucking mission to do, he's up for it. But that one I decided to go with specifically because there's that extra layer of I have to pretend to be an alien that I'm not.
I forgot about Detained.
So did I until I was reading this goddamn Wikipedia
very
entry.
mid-episode otherwise.
It is, but a good moment for him.
Mm-hmm.
I already said this last week, but I can't not say it again. Shuttlepod 1!
Yay!
Just generally?
Yeah, just a great episode for him and Trip. Great moments for the both of them. And, I know we kind of goof on it, because he gets a little too self-sacrifice happy over time, but I mean, being willing to sacrifice himself for the ship in Minefield is actually fairly noble.
Yeah, he also puts up with
pants.
Oh, he did poop his pants. He also puts up with Archer that episode, which
that's really why he wanted to sacrifice himself. He's like, maybe if I'm dead, he'll go away.
Oh, that did seem like a possibility at one point.
Was that the episode where he was dreading having to do breakfast with the captain and they got interrupted by... Yeah, okay.
Yep, that's the one. Same one.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I generally like Reed. I think...
Yeah.
He doesn't do a lot of things, but he's like a Chakotay. He's a very consistent character that has a very subtle nuance that is consistent throughout.
Exactly.
I think Dominic Keating does an excellent job with the character. He's a cutie. And he does a lot of other good stuff, some other good stuff that hasn't come up yet. I really liked him with Talus in Proving Ground. I thought they were very cute together.
Oh, yeah, their scenes were great.
His little Andorian girlfriend.
Yeah, but it turned out, wasn't she manipulating him?
Yeah, but he figured it out.
Yeah.
And also, just the two of them together, I did like them. I have a bunch of spares. Which one do I want? Let's go with... Oh, here we go. I'm pretty sure he does this. He saves Trip's fucking ass in United when the two of them are stuck on that Romulan drone ship.
Yeah,
and the Romulans are like, yeah, we're gonna just destruct you, like kill you guys. I think by... Did they cut off their air? I forget what they did.
Yes.
But Reed leaves his phaser on like overload somewhere and blows something up, which is very Reed. He loves explosions. So that's very cute for him. I like that. And one more that I like. This is just the cutest, tiniest moment of, speaking of Reed loving explosions. They're on the Klingon ship in Sleeping Dogs that's like in a decaying orbit or some shit. And Hoshi or T'Pol says something about weapons, and he just pops up out of nowhere and is like, weapons, I want some of those. And I found that very cute for him.
Well, I mean, for that matter, from that episode, I guess we call this an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Doesn't he use the photon torpedoes on the Klingon ship to blast them into a higher orbit? Isn't that
he does?
Then there we go. Then it works out in so many levels.
Yeah. Because like the ship was gonna the ship's orbit was decaying and it was gonna get crushed in that gas planet, and he used the photon torpedoes to blast them up into a higher orbit.
He did,
saving the ship and everyone aboard.
Hooray!
Bad Reed.
First, my honorable mention because I like this. He gets tripped from the Columbia over to the Enterprise in Divergence.
Yeah.
Despite being in the brig for most of that episode.
Yep.
Okay, you want to move on to some bad reads?
Yes. I have Caitlin's here. She gave me 4, so I will have to pick which 3.
I'll give us the honorable mention when we're done then.
Talking about T'Pol's admittedly very fine ass.
Bum. He says bum.
Yes, bum.
That's in Shuttlepod 1?
Yeah.
Do I have that written? Yes, I do. It's right here. Derp.
Being a little bitch about the Makos.
Oh, yeah, in Harbinger.
Mm-hmm.
Well, really, it culminates in Harbinger. He's a little bitch all the fucking time about the Makos.
Yeah. Working with Section 31.
Yep.
Yeah,
terrible.
That was sort of like the other half to my doing the right thing.
Yeah.
To defy Section 31, but yeah, the other half of that is he was involved with them to begin with.
I know.
Yeah.
Especially in, it's the 7th where we learn that T'Pol is also some secret agent.
Yeah, she's Vulcan Section 31.
We already had one.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Okay, I got a few. So yeah, I'm going to throw out there, I mean, I guess this is kind of the same thing that Caitlin said, but I'm phrasing it differently because it's more specific. But his infantile rivalry with Hayes, culminating in their stupid-ass fist fight.
Oh, very dumb. Very bad. They didn't even make out.
That was in Harbinger? That's
yes.
where that fist fight happened? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one of mine. The episode where he was trying to come up with what the tactical alert should be called. And he suggested the read alarm.
I don't even think I think Trip is the one that says read alarm, and then he's like, I like that name.
Yeah,
but I still blame him for it.
We're blaming him for the read alarm. Fucking stupid. That's kind of my joke one. But this one's real. Leaving his communicator behind that time on that planet and necessitating a whole fucking thing that almost got him and Archer killed. And required a daring rescue in a cloaked ship.
That they will then forget they have.
Oh my god, the cloaked ship. Arg, arg, arg.
Mm.
How about you, Chris?
So, letting things escalate into a fistfight in Harbinger.
Shocking. So bad.
Not coming clean about Section 31 sooner in the Affliction Divergence 2-parter.
Yeah, it did take him a while.
He seems to have worked out that Section 31 is actually bad, so why was he still keeping their secrets? Like, come on, buddy.
I bet it was a daddy thing. I bet daddy was involved somehow.
And then, him and Hayes kind of work things out. And Hayes' dying wish put Mackenzie in charge of the Makos.
No. Oh, I'm glad you brought that one up.
And Reed clearly ignored him.
Never see that bitch again.
Nope. He takes over the Makos.
Why have that be his dying words if you're not going to do anything with it? If anything, say Reed, I loved you, man, and that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That is certainly what Reed heard, despite what Hayes said.
That must have been it.
Hayes said.
Oh boy, I have a couple extra ones that haven't been said yet. So I'm going to build off of leaving his damn communicator on planet in the communicator to the other shit that happens in the communicator, which I'm going to count as a different thing. And that's that when he's being questioned by the people down there, he basically comes up with this fucking tale that makes things worse.
Yeah.
By saying, oh yeah, we're augmented people from your rival group of people that you're at war with. Clearly, like, escalating this war between these tribes. Reed, you're an idiot. Moron. Worst idiot in space. Couple more. Oh, he gets tricked by those Ryzen aliens in 2 Days and 2 Nights, which I don't think we brought up in the Trip episode. Or the Trip
I brought it up as a dishonorable mention.
Okay, I don't know if it... I think I did make the blog, but I wanted to bring that up again anyway.
Totally.
Just so it's on both of theirs, because they're buddies.
He fell for it. Yeah, he fell for it too. I meant to bring that up as a dishonorable mention for him, but
they sure fucking did. And the last one, which I'm gonna, it's also a both him and Trip moment, but I'm gonna give it to him. Sneaking around the repair station in Dead Stop like a fucking dingbat. He is super lucky that Roxanne didn't just blow him into space.
I mean, we also gave Trip shit for that though. So
I didn't make his blog because I ran out of points.
I definitely considered it for both of them, but didn't actually put it on my list either time.
Did we talk about? I can't remember when we were talking about the Risa incident. How that was a little victim blamey here. Yeah,
what?
It's a bad moment though.
Yeah, it's a bad moment, but yeah, it's not their fault. They were catfished kind of by.
It's the world's oldest grift.
True.
Yeah.
They should have been on alert.
And also, it was. I blame the writers a bit. It was dumbly written. It didn't have to be shape-shifting aliens. It was quite dumb.
They could just get robbed by some hookers like everybody.
Yeah.
Dishonorable mention to how fucking whiny he was all through the catwalk when they were trapped in the catwalk with each other, and he bitched the whole fucking time.
Yeah, he was definitely like the most complainy, wasn't he?
Yeah. Now, this isn't a moment or anything that I think is blog worthy, but I did want to mention and talk about how Reed is kind of a bitch.
But we love him for it.
Just general. So I was thinking about this. I think Section 31 is like the Proud Boys.
Ooh.
I can see that.
I think they go after like men who have issues, like angry kind of incel type men. So because look at who we've seen Section 31 try to recruit. Reed. I think he was exactly the type of person that they wanted because he's an angry, bitter man who doesn't get laid. We learned this in E Squared, yeah. In E Squared, he goes like his whole life without getting laid, which is sad for him, I know, but yeah. And then we also have Julian, who is another target of Section 31. Same kind of story. Mm-hmm. I think Julian, by the time that Section 31 got to him, he had developed a little bit beyond that. So that's why he was less susceptible to it. But it seems like Section 31 just kind of targets men that are kind of losery. And
also in both cases, men with really bad relationships with their parents.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like, so yeah, I don't know. I think Section 31 might just be the Proud Boys of the future. Oh,
super interestingly, since we're obviously recording a little bit earlier than when the movie Spectacular comes out. Actually, yeah, it looks like tomorrow by the time this has released, is that Star Trek Section 31 premiere movie length thing.
Oh, no.
I'm curious what we'll think about it.
It's gonna suck.
It. I mean, I don't know. I'll go into it with an open mind. But here's the thing. we won't be able to talk about it on our show because it's pretty spoilery about one character in particular. But yeah, and I don't like that character either. So
I mean, I think without getting into what we're going to see, the one thing I gave Enterprise was they understand that Section 31 is bad. I don't know that Discovery understands that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
even Enterprise. I mean, Deep Space Nine seems to be like Section 31 bad. Enterprise, what would you say? A little less bad on the scale?
I think, like, they don't get into it as much, but we're not supposed to think they're good people.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like...
But we love Sloane's coat.
Yeah, no, that's great. Again, fascists have good fashion sense.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
But yeah, like, I don't think... The one thing I will say is I don't think New Trek kind of gets that... No. They're not just like Starfleet Intelligence. They are like a bad rogue one that does bad things.
You'd think it'd be flippy-flopped with Enterprise, considering how many war crimes Enterprise seem to really love justifying.
Right? The one thing they got right was understanding that Section 31 bad.
Yeah. I wonder if it's that, like, the characters that we're going to see in Section 31, the movie thing. I'm not going to spoil, just in case people don't, aren't aware of the zeitgeist of this particular element, that there are characters that people really, really like.
Yeah, ugh.
And therefore it's like, oh, but it's okay because it's this character. Or really this actor.
Yeah.
Well, we'll watch that
Anyway.
probably tomorrow and report back on it in several years.
I've only seen the first trailer. I hated it. As we posted on our page at the time, it has big, we have Guardians of the Galaxy at home energy.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow. But next week,
I'm not watching
we
it.
won't be talking about it. We'll be talking about something else.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll have watched it, but we won't be talking about it.
Yeah. Well, we might grumble about it without spoilers. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see. Or we might be like, wow, that was surprisingly good.
Look, I'd love to be
Time will
wrong,
tell.
but I'm not counting. I was, as I've said many times, super happy to be as wrong as I was about Prodigy.
Yay!
I don't know if they're going to manage it twice.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I ended up. So I think we mentioned. I don't know if we mentioned it on the show, but there's that new Star Wars show.
Oh, no, we didn't mention it on the show.
Looks awful.
It looks terrible, but I've read people saying it's actually not bad. So I might watch it. I'm going to give it a watch.
This is Skeleton
Crew
with Jude Law.
Because the thing is, it looks kind of like Prodigy Star Wars edition.
Yeah, no, that's. I'm like, it looks like I've already had a better version of this.
Yeah. So I might watch it. I'll try to report back.
I'll watch it for Jude Law.
I'll just rewatch Gattaca.
There you go.
There you go.
Gattaca.
That's worth
Beautiful.
the time.
Hot fucking movie.
Anyway.
But yeah. Anywho, yeah. But anyway, next week we'll be talking about some Star Trek Discovery. The Wolf Inside. Aroo. That's coming up next week on Discovery. We'll also be having a little talk about that lovable piece of shit, son of a bitch, genocidal maniac Phlox, and his stupid puffer
Everything.
fish defense. But anyway, we'll be talking about that and much more, I am sure, next week on our show, A Star to Steer Her By. Until then, you can find us on SoundCloud, Tumblr, SSHB Podcast, sshbpodcast.com. You can follow us on Facebook. You can download us on Apple. You can download us on other podcast
Spotify. Other
Spotify.
ones.
There you go.
There's a Google one, probably.
You know,
They got rid of that.
we
They did.
you know, folks, I got to say, we don't come on here every week. We don't beg for your money. We're not doing ads. I mean, we can't speak forever, but we've been up for 8 years. We've never done an ad read, so
On purpose.
on purpose.
We do them by accident a lot.
We do that. Yeah, exactly. We endorse products all the time, but yeah, we've never been paid for an ad. We don't have a Patreon. We ain't asking for your money. We're asking for your ears. We're asking for your ears, and we're asking you for your rating and review on Apple Podcasts. So get on there. Give us the 5. If you don't want to give us the 5, give us the 4. Here comes the 3 to the 2. Anyway, yeah, do that. Do that for us. You don't have to send us money. You don't have to buy the products that we're shilling. We do want your love. We want you to tell your friends to listen
and read
to
the
us.
blog.
And read our
read the
fucking
blog.
blog.
I put in unnecessary amounts of effort into the blog.
It's so good. It's so good. It's clever. It's witty. It's interesting. And you know, if you're only listening to us because you read the blog and we're like, oh wow, these people are really fun and clever, I'm going to go listen to their podcast. I apologize that you made that mistake, but I'm glad you're here anyway. So please share us, rate us, visit our blog, let us know how we're doing. Send us a line, message us on the Facebook or Tumblr. And we may respond. I don't know. I don't respond. I don't even do Facebook, but you might. So do that.
We do when the notifications actually work and tell us someone has done something.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen.
It doesn't
if you message us, we're not ignoring you because we hate you. We're ignoring you because we're incompetent with technology these days.
Honestly, Facebook is getting actively worse. So I'm blaming Zuckerberg.
Until then, my name has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
And this is Mirror Ames.
Oh
Come
my
to
God.
the side of the mirror. And Windex that shit.
Oh, bad. I have some reading to do.
Jesus Christ. No, that's not the segue. The segue is, speaking of Amanda eating lots of cake, you know who else likes cake?